Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Leti Noni. Guys, I've been missing in action for a while. So today with this beautiful lace fabric, I'll be showing us how to make a madam blouse, an Igbo blouse or a traditional blouse. And trust me guys, this is going to be so easy and beautiful. I'll be using this mirror face bridal satin as an underlay for the lace. Alright, so I'm going to be folding the satin into two and I'll be using the widest circumference of the body. For this particular blouse, it is the hip, which is 46, divided by 4, that's 11.5. I'll then add extra 5 to 6 inches allowance to it. Okay, so 11.5 plus 6 should give me around 17.5. So that's the width of my fold. Okay, so I'm going to start by marking a starting point, okay, to indicate where all my markings and measurements will start from. So guys, god, I'm so happy to be doing this again. Like, it's been a while, right? So it's an off shoulder. Okay, so I'll be taking away 5.5. So I'll be placing my tape at 5.5 inches at that starting point. Okay, so my client wants an off shoulder of 6 inches. Okay, but I'll start with marking 5.5 so that when I'm turning the lining with half inch, it would now come back to 6 inches. Okay, so that's why I'm using 5.5. Then I'll mark her bust point, which is 11, her under bust, which is 15, then her half length, which is 17.5. Okay, so I did not add any seam allowance to the bust point and under bust, and the reason is because I want the cup to be firm and hold her bust very well. So the next thing I would mark would be her blouse length, which is 26 inches. Then I'll mark 2 inches for hemming allowance. So guys, that's what I've just marked out here: her bust point, her under bust, her half length, her blouse length, and 2 inches seam allowance. So I'll just go and mark out all these vertical measurements in a straight line. So guys, this is the bust point. This right here is the under bust. This is the half length, and this is the length of my blouse. Okay, blouse length from there. This is my allowance. Okay, so the upper part is just the upper bust measurement or the upper chest, because we've done minus 5.5. Right, so guys, I will now introduce the bust span. The bust span is a nipple to nipple measurement. So for this particular person, it is 8 inches. I'll divide that by 2 to give me 4 inches. Then I'll add half inch seam allowance. That's 4.5. So I'm marking 4.5 on the bust point. Okay, on the bust point, guys, I mark 4.5. Yes, so I also mark the same 4.5 on the shoulder line. That's the upper bust line right now. So I'm marking 4.5 on the bust point and on the upper bust. Then I'll take away half inch and mark that on the under bust line. So the under bust I'm marking 4 inches. On the half length I also mark 4 inches. Okay, then on the blouse length you can add about half inch or 1 inch to that. Okay, you can add about half inch or 1 inch to your nipple to nipple measurement. So if I add about half inch, this is what I'll have, and I'll connect straight from the top part to the bust point, under bust, half length, then to the length of the blouse. Okay, so I just want to have a little flare at that point, so that it's not going to, the person has a bit of tummy, so it's not going to just hold the tummy so tight. So I'm opening it up by 1 inch. Okay, then I'll flare it out from the half length. Okay, so that's how to get a very beautiful madam or traditional blouse that will sit so well on the person's body. All right, so what I've just done was to mark my bust span measurement. Okay, took away half inch and marked that on my under bust and half length, then added 1 or 1.5 inches to it and marked on the blouse length. Now to the side, I'm going to take a dart of 2.5 inches. This person is not so busty. Okay, so I'm taking a dart of 2.5. So I'm marking 2.5 inches on the under bust, on the half length, and also to the upper bust area. Okay, so I also take a dart of 2.5 inches. Please, if the person is busty, if bust is busty, you can use a dart of 3 inches. If the person is not so busty, you could use around 1.5 2 inches, depending on how big the person's bust is. Okay, so I like to come up by 1 inch and come down by 1 inch at the bust point area. Okay, to reduce tightness and puffiness around the bust point. Okay, so after doing that, I'm just going to connect all my points. Okay, so please, you're going to be seeing some hands moving around. I'm just trying to explain some things to my students. I have around about 4 or 5 of them around here. Okay, so please, if you see their hands, please pardon. I'm just trying to explain better, okay, for them to understand. Okay, so what I've just done, like I said, I'm just explaining it again. After marking your bust pan measurement on the down part at the blouse leg, you're going to add at least 1 or 1.5 to it, just to flare it out a little bit, okay, so that you don't have it tight at the belly of the person, and it's also going to give it a very nice shape. Right, so I'm going to connect my dart. I'll connect from the bust point to the upper bust, okay, using the not so curvy part of my ruler, guys. Okay, so then I'll connect from the bust point to the under bust using the curvy part of my ruler, like so. Then I'll now connect from the under bust to the half length, like so. Then this is what we have, like so. So it's going to form the bustier. Okay, the darts form the bustier. All right, so you can use your free hand to make the curve as long as you get it accurate. That's the most important thing. Right, so what I'm going to do next would be to connect from the half length. I'm just going to bring it down. I'll slope it down to where I flared out the blouse length. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to flare it down to the blouse length. So we go like this, just slant it like so, and you slope it down from the half length down to the length of the blouse. Okay, so I don't want to take any that around that area. Okay, so I'm just sloping it down like so. Okay, so that when we cut it out, we can just couple it back together. Right, so guys, the bustier part is done. Like, it's as easy as this. Okay, so there are different methods to cut a bustier, and I have other methods here on my channel. So I'm using this method for this particular tutorial, or for this particular blouse, so I thought to share with us. So on the bust point, I'm going to mark my bust divided by 4 plus 3 inches seam allowance. Okay, 2 inches seam allowance, then 1 inch to join the dart. Okay, so on the half length, I'm going to mark my waist measurement divided by 4. So my weight, the waist I'm working with is 40 divided by 4. That would give me 10 inches. Then I took a dart of 2.5 inches, so I'll go and replace that dart plus my 3 inches seam allowance. Okay, then on the blouse length, I'm going to take the measurement around the blouse length. It's usually the hip measurement. Okay, so I'll take the hip divided by 4, okay, plus 3 inches seam allowance. There is no dart at the hip area. Okay, I just sloped it down. Okay, so just slope it down, so there is not that at that point. So you just mark your hip measurement divided by 4 plus your 3 inches allowance. Okay, but I'm just going to use up what I have on this fabric. Okay, just to give that shape that I want. Okay, just shape it out like this. Okay, so when you are taking the body measurement, you can now shape it as you want. Then from the seam allowance, I'm just going to curve the hem so that it's not going to be pointy and sharp at the length of my blouse. Okay, just to give it that smooth curve that blouses do have. Guys, I'm done with drafting this. Okay, so at the upper part, I'm not going to be cutting my neckline and my armhole now. Okay, so what I'll just do is just to connect straight up like so. By the time I finish joining the blouse or the darts together, I'll then come and draft out my armhole and my neckline. That way you are sure that everything is accurate. Okay, so this is how we cut. First, cut through the length of the blouse, then you cut to the upper part. Okay, then before you start to take out your dart, then when you want to take out your dart, make sure you start from the sides. Okay, start taking out the sides before you take out the center front. Okay, so this is how I'm going to cut, taking out the sides first. Okay, then when you get to the other bust, just make sure that you curve your hands very well so that you don't have a sharp point and you get your bustier shape accurately. Okay, so this is what I have. Remember, this person is not so busty, which is why I have this. Okay, but if the person is busty, you go ahead, and I also make a tutorial on how to make an Igbo blouse or a Bustier blouse for somebody that is so busty or that is very busty. Okay, so look out for that tutorial. It's going to come as soon as possible. And at the same time, please ignore the hands that are coming into this video. They are learning as well. Okay, so, and I'm liberal. I want to teach. I teach my heart out so that everybody would get it. Okay, so if this video gets if it's repeating, if I'm repeating a lot of things, please pardon me, because I'm also repeating the same thing to the people I am teaching. Okay, I hope you understand. Right, so thank you for understanding that little detail. Yes, so I'm done cutting the front part. Okay, this is the center front and this is the side front. Okay, so that's all. There are different methods to cut a bustier, and this is one of them. So if this is different from what you already know, please, it's also another way to draft out your bustier. You can try it out and see what it gives you. Okay, so what I'm going to do next would be to place my fabric on fold and cut out the back. Okay, so I've placed the fabric on fold, and I'm going to start with marking out the body measurements. Okay, so the back will be needing zipper at the back, so I'm going to be taking a zip allowance of 1.5 inches. So from the center back, I'm just marking 1.5 inches from the top of the fabric to the bottom of the fabric, and I'll roll that out in a straight line. Okay, so you need a straight ruler and a curved ruler. Please just try to get them. I know our free hands are doing wonderful jobs, but most times we just need to get these pattern makers or pattern masters or pattern rulers or whatever we call them, just to aid your work. Okay, so remember, I'm doing an off shoulder of -5.5, so I'll mark my half length, my blouse length, and my seam allowance, or my hemming allowance as we may call it. Okay, so I've marked that out. I would rule them all out in a straight line, just like I did for when I was drafting out the front. So guys, I've been talking for a long time. If you're new to this channel, you're very welcome. You're so welcome. This is Learn to Sew with Noni, and here I upload tutorials every week. For some time now, I've been missing in action, but guys, I promise you I'm back. Okay, so I'm also marking my bust point here. Okay, and then I also, curve it out or mark it out in a straight line. So like I was welcoming my new people, guys, we are up to 25k subscribers. That is so amazing. Thank you for subscribing. I love you. So back to what we are doing. On the bust point, I'm going to mark the bust divided by 4 plus my 2 inches seam allowance. On the waistline, I'm going to mark the waist divided by 4 plus my 2 inches seam allowance. And on the blouse length, I'm going to mark the hip divided by 4 plus my 2 inches seam allowance. Guys, the back is so easy. Like, I wonder why life can't be as easy as the back patterns. Guys, they give me life. Okay, so I'll just connect from the bust, the waist to the hip. Okay, now, so there's one thing I like to do. I like to have a cut at the back of my blouses. Okay, it gives it that beautiful fineness that blouses do have. So I'm just going to mark my bust span divided by 2 plus half inch. That's 4.5. So I'm marking 4.5 all along the length of my blouse. So from the upper part to the bottom of the blouse, I'm marking 4.5. Remember, the bust span I'm working with is 8 inches. If I divide that by 4, it would give me by 2. Sorry guys, if I divide my bust span by 2, that will give me 4. Then I'll add half inch seam allowance. Now to the hem of the blouse, I'm also opening it up by 1 inch just to flare it out like I did for the front. Okay, so from the half length, I just flared it out, okay, to the length of the blouse. Right, so because I'm adding a dart, or I'm going to be cutting that out, I'm going to be adding 1 inch allowance, and that will be to join when I'll cut out this my dart. It's not a dart, it's just a straight line, but it will serve as the dart. Okay, and as usual, I'm also using up the pattern, the fabric. Okay, then I also curve the hem of my blouse. Guys, this is all. Okay, so as usual, ignore the hands. You know what I mean now. You know what I mean. And also at the upper part, I'll just take it up because I don't want to cut out the neckline or the armhole till I'm done joining. So guys, that's it for the back pattern. Okay, just mark your bust span measurement up until the half length. The length of the blouse, you flare it out with either 1 inch or 1.5, just to give it that smoky spicy hotness, okay, to give you that Instagram celebrity, all of those things that we see online, and our eyes will be turning on your own. So I'm done and I'm cutting out through the dart, guys. Okay, so this will just serve as my dart and to give me that lush look at the back of my dress, my blouse, sorry. All right, I've missed doing videos, guys. What was I thinking? Been away for so long. Now I'm slashing out the zip allowance. Then I'll go and notch my zip allowance as well. Okay, so I'll go notch up and down. Then I'm also going to notch at the upper part just to indicate that this is the upper part, so that when we are joining, we don't just have this kind of headache and we just mistakenly turn it upside down, and that would be so disastrous. So I like to notch to indicate. Okay, so this is the back pattern, and this my Wasabi auntie is trying to measure. Okay, and I'm sure she got what she wanted, right? So I'll then go and transfer the pattern to my lace fabric. So you can see me doing that. Place your satin on your lace and cut exactly what we have on the satin. Okay, so this is how we are doing this one. Fast, sharp, 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 just to save time, right? So transfer to your fabric, to your lace fabric, and this will be for my sleeve. Okay, this is what I have left out of 1.5 yards of fabric. Okay, so the same thing I've marked out here, I'll go and do the same thing on my lining. Right, so I've padded and I've joined. Okay, I have a tutorial on how to pad and join, okay, your bustier. I'll be placing that in the description box. Okay, this video is already very long and I don't want to bore you guys. Okay, so if you join and you have an excess, please just trim it off like so. Okay, and make sure you maintain the side. Okay, just trim off the excess to the side. Okay, so I had to show this so that you know that sometimes we have excess. Everything is not just so perfect. Sometimes we have an excess and we trim it off. So when you have that excess, don't go and kill yourself. You get it? You get it. So I'm not joining this the front, okay, with the bustier, with the pads, okay, excluding my line. This is just the lace and the satin. So I'll fold it into two and I'll go and pin. So this is now time to draft out my armhole and my neckline. Like I said, I like to join the darts together first, okay, before doing both my neckline and my armhole. Guys, just try this out. It's going to give you something very nice, at the end of the day. After all the wahala of joining the darts, you now have the pleasure of introducing your neckline and your armhole. All right, so for the neckline, we're going to be needing the shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 17 inches. So if I divide that by 2, that will give me 8.5. Now because we're working on an off shoulder, I'm going to take out 2 inches from whatever I have by dividing my shoulder by 2. So I have 8.5. 8.5 minus 2 would give me 6.5. Okay, 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. 8.5 minus 2 is 6.5. So I'll mark 6.5 at this upper part. Then remember we are doing an off shoulder of -5.5, so I'll place my tape at 5.5 and also mark out my chest line. I'll be using 10 inches because it's an off shoulder, so I'm marking out 10 inches. Okay, so this is 10 inches. So what I'll do is just to slant from that 6.5 to the 10 inches, guys. Okay, remember your shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 17 divided by 2, that is 8.5. I'll take away 2 inches from that because it's an off shoulder. Okay, so 8.5 minus 2 would give me 6.5. Now for my neck depth, okay, that's how deep I want the neckline to be. This client has already warned me, like drew my ear, that she doesn't want to expose her bust, she doesn't want to show her cleavage. So daughter of Zion, I don't want to land inside police cell. So what I'm going to do is just to come down by 2 inches, period. Doesn't 2 inches, just like 2 inches only. I don't want to hear come and go. So I'll just make a U-shaped neckline to my neck width like so. Okay, that's it. You can see what I've just done. So you just shape your neckline and your armhole like that. Okay, so if you want to show your cleave, of course, just go ahead and come down by like 2.5 3 inches, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so you just cut it out like so, guys. So remember I said you should cut out your lining exactly the same way we cut out the fabric and the lace and the satin. Okay, the lace and the satin. So go and join the lining the same way you have joined the satin and lace. Okay, you then use the lining to turn the neckline, the length of the blouse, and the sides. I'm sure we already know how to do those ones. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with plenty things. This is the inside. So what I also do is to go and notch my bust area, okay, just to ease and free that point, so it's not you know what I mean now, so it's not pointy, just to free it up, okay, so the tightness around that place would reduce, or the tension around that place would reduce. Guys, I went to school now. All right, so I'll just go and notch that up. Then afterwards, you make sure you give it a good press, iron it properly. If you like to top stitch, you can top stitch on it. Okay, top stitch on the both sides. Then you go and use your lining to turn. Okay, so I'll just go and top stitch on this. I want to top stitch. This particular client has told me that she likes top stitching, that she likes the shape or design that it has. This daughter of Zion, I don't like top stitching. I just use iron and everything is nice, but customers are always right. So this is the bag, guys. Okay, so I've also joined the satin to the lace. I've also coupled the sides. You can see by joining, okay, and I've also top stitched at the same time. So I'll just go and pin it together, right sides facing right sides, and exactly what I did to the front I'll do to the back. Okay, I'll just mark the neck width, which is 6.5. Remember, we got that from subtracting 2 inches from half of our shoulder measurement. Okay, so I'll go and mark that and still use my length of 10 inches, my chest line of 10 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead. So from the zip allowance, okay, remember I marked 1.5 inches zip allowance. Okay, so another auntie is asking me a question and I'm answering. That's why my hands have slowed down. Okay, so continue back to what we were doing. So from the zip allowance, I would mark 6.5 inches. You already know how we got that. Then my chest line is 10 inches, so I'm placing my tape at 5.5 inches. Then I marked 10 inches. Then I slanted it like so. Then for the back neckline, the client gave me the liberty to go as deep as 10 inches. So I'm just doing 3 inches, okay, depth for the back. Okay, she doesn't want to show her cleavage, but she wants to show her back. So I'm just doing 3 inches. You can do 1, you can leave it as straight as it is. You can do 4, 5, depending on how you want it. You can just do it till your chest line, okay. So I just want it to be 3 inches deep, okay. I do not want wahala. Right, so after doing this, I'll just go and cut this out, and we have a wonderful Igbo traditional Niger Delta or Delta Madam blouse. Anything you call it, it's actually nice. Okay, you can use it with your wrapper, your George, anything you want to use it for. So when I'm done, I'll go and use my lining to turn the neckline, the hemline, and the sides, just to make sure I have a very neat finishing. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I also attach and fixing my zipper. Then I'll come back and show you what I've done. So I'm back like I never left. Right, so this is the front. You can see I've turned it with my lining, and everywhere is so neat. I've turned the neckline, the hemline, the sides, and everything is looking like this, so beautiful. But I am owing this blouse a good press, so off camera I'm just going to go and give it a very good press. I've already pressed it though, so that everything lays really nice, okay, but I'm still going to go and give it a very nice press. So this is the back, okay. I've as well turned the lining and everything is, so you can see my stitches, okay. You can see that point that I slashed the back, so that it will give me that sweet luscious look at the back. And I've also inserted my zipper, so I'll just go and place it right side facing right side. I'll go and pin, so you can see I've pinned it down. So I'll start taking my body measurement. The bust I'm working with is 42 divided by 2, that's 21. So I'm going to mark out 21 like so. Okay, place my tape on it, make sure I flatten out all the sides. Okay, flatten it out properly, and I'm going to make a mark at 21 inches. Okay, so I've made the mark at 21 inches. So from that 21 inches mark, I'm going to measure what I have left. I have 3 inches, so I'll share it 1.5 on both sides. Okay, so whatever you have left, share it on the 2 sides. So I'm going to the waist I'm working with is 40, so 40 divided by 2 is 20. So I'm going to go and stretch out my fabric and make sure that I mark out 20 inches. Okay, so this is 20 inches. Then I'll measure what I have left. I have 3 inches left. I'll share it 1.5 on both sides. Okay, so I'll share 3 on the both sides. That would mean that one side will get 1.5, the other side will have 1.5. We are sharing the national money and national cake. You will not cheat anybody. You get. So on the length of the blouse, I'm also going to measure the hip measurement divided by 2. Okay, then whatever I have, I'm also going to share it on both sides. I have around 3.5, so I'll also go and share that on both sides like so. Then I'll go and connect. Then after connecting, I'll go to my sewing machine and stitch this down. Then afterwards, I'll go and cut out the sleeve. So guys, I have a tutorial on how to cut an off-shoulder sleeve. I'll be dropping the link in the description box. Okay, this video is already very long. 26 inches is no joke. Okay, so I'm just going to go and drop that link. So after marking, you go and sew it by the side like so. Then attach your sleeve. So that is it. So I'll show you the finished look of the outfit we've just made. Guys, this is it. And it came out so beautiful. I had to tie wrapper fabric on the down part just to illustrate as wrapper, but it's so beautiful. Look at how it came out, so beautiful. So you can now go and embellish it with your pearls, your roses, and this is the back. You can see the darts at the back. Everything just fits and looks so nice. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So beautiful. So please guys, embellish yours to make it finer. I hope you enjoyed this video. So till I see you in my next one, bye. I love you. Mwah.